Hey everybody. In one of my past videos, we discussed a little bit about the combination of the bow grip using the Bowmaster. Well, today I want to go a little bit further in depth with the use of the Bowmaster bow press and just how handy it can be to have one. A lot of you guys, if you're not familiar with what a Bowmaster bow press is, it's actually a really versatile bow press, and I carry mine right here in my back pocket. Not all the time. But most of the time when I'm running around the shop, I carry my Bowmaster. And the reason is, it's just like it's a handy little self-contained bow press that can handle just about every job that you're going to run across with a bow. To me, I like to have the relationship between having a jack in the back of your car and the Bowmaster, because the jack in the back of your car, sure, it's great for a flat. You can always change a flat tire. And if you work a little harder, you can take that same jack and you can rotate the tires on your car. It does require a little bit more, and it's not as fancy as having a big, gigantic lift that your garage has. And it's the same thing with a Bowmaster. I mean, it'll fix a flat, a string pops off, peep sight flies out, something simple like that. Or you can replace your strings, change modules, change draw links, and even take the bow completely apart. It may take a little more effort than it would if you had a $700 bow press, but you can't pack that $700 bow press in your back pocket or in the glove box of your truck like my other Bowmaster. That's where I keep it. Okay, so whenever you're using a Bowmaster, there's a couple of things that I'll always like to do. And this goes for any bow press that you use. I always like to back the bow down at least 3 turns out on the limbs. That way it's going to relieve the pressure. It's going to make a lot less work for the press. And it's going to make everything just safer so you don't have a problem. So I've already backed out these limbs on the bows, and the first bow I'm going to show you is a solid Limbo. We're going to show you how to set up the Bowmaster and a couple of little tricks to make the Bowmaster work just a little bit easier for you. Okay, whenever you're installing the Bowmaster onto the bow, it's real simple. You just take one of the T-ends, that's the little black bar with the red caps on it. You want to stick them in the fork of the limb underneath of the cam. You're going to do it on the bottom, and you're going to go up here on the top cam. And you'll notice on this end of the cable that you're going to see all these crimps on the cable. That's for the adjustment of the axle length. What that does is allows the Bowmaster to be adjusted to the bow according to the length of the axles and the distance between the limb forks. Okay, so we go ahead and just adjust this. It's got a little slot that'll allows it to slide, and you slide it down until you get to the one that'll go in the fork of the limb, like so, and then you're going to keep it a little tight. While you get that adjusted, you slide the slot over and it locks in. Okay? Now, before you put any tension on there, there's also a couple of small little pieces of leather. What that's for is that goes right in the fork of the limb there. It's to protect the limb against the cable, from keeping it from getting scratched, and keeping the cable from digging into the limb as the pressure is being applied from the turnbuckle. Okay, we got those in place now. Now, one of the things that you've got to pay attention to when you're using a Bowmaster is these crimps that are on the end down here. You want to keep those away from the pulleys. And the reason is when you start to crank this down, you don't want that crimp to roll over in that pulley, because it can jam and lock. It can lock your bow full draw. It's going to damage the Bowmaster, and it's going to make it not be safe to use. So you want to make sure you stay away from those. And it's real simple to do. All you have to do is just take the pulley and you want to slide it down to the other end of the bow. That's what I always do. That way my adjustments are down here on this end, and my turnbuckle's down on this end. And then you can take the T-handle, turn it a few times, and you're going to go ahead and get a little bit of the tension into the cable now. Now, we haven't pressed it down that much, but one of the things that's nice I like to use when I use the Bowmaster is I like to use a ratchet and a 5/8 socket. It works really good together. It's fast, it's easy. All you have to do is there's a hex head bolt that's on the end down here where the T-handle's at, and you just get on there and you just crank it down like so, and it'll press that bow just lickety split. I mean, look right there. I can go ahead and I can put a peep sight in. I can pop this string off pop the cable off, put a new set on, adjust my draw length and my pegs, anything I need to do. And it's just as simple to take down. You just go ahead and just back it off the other way with the ratchet. I much rather use the ratchet on it than the T-handle, just because the ratchet handle is long and you can get with it quick. You don't have to sit there with the small handle. You can if you don't have a ratchet, it'll work just fine. It's just a nice thing to have, is to use the ratchet. Alright, well that's how you use the Bowmaster on a solid limbo. Now I'm going to show you how to use it on a split limbo. In order to use the Bowmaster on a split limbo, you need to have the split limb adapters. The L brackets is what I like to use. This is for both parallel limb and for the split limb bows. And I always do this. This is how I do it. I always put it on one side. It basically is a set of forks that's going to loop over your end, and I like to put it on this end like so. And then I'm going to put the Bowmaster on there just like I did before with the solid limbo. It'll fit in. You'll see it has a little slot in the bracket there that's made especially for the T to go into. Do the same thing on this side. It just slides up and it'll go in the slot. Now, what I like to always do is I'll just slide slide it down to where the turnbuckle is in a good convenient spot out of the way, which is adjustable. Once you have it on the cable, if you don't have too much tension on it, it's adjustable to slide up and down, to stay out of the way of stuff, say like my string suppressor, my roller guard, that type of thing. And it goes on like so. You want to make sure that you got it squared up on these limbs, and it's going to be hanging like that. There again, you can use the T-handle if you would like, or you can go ahead and use the ratchet with a 5/8 socket, and you can tighten it down. And it doesn't take but just a couple of turns. You'll see, just like so, that I get my tension taken right out of the bow. There again, I can adjust my draw length on the bow. I can replace strings, cables, install peep sights, do virtually anything you need to do that a big bow press can do, but with a whole lot smaller package. Well, there you have it. The Bowmaster bow press is a big bow press and a little package, and it won't empty your wallet too bad either. I always say that anybody who owns a compound bow needs a Bowmaster bow press, because everybody who owns a vehicle has a jack in the trunk. It's the same principle, guys. The Bowmaster will work with almost all bow types, all limb configurations. But what you really need to do before you make that jump is either you can send me an email, or you can go over to the Prototech Industries website, which is Prototech. It's down there in the link down there, and you can click on that, and it'll tell you if it's going to be compatible with your bow, whether you need the L brackets or you need the other any of the other adapters that they may have to fit your particular bow type. There's also a link down there to bowtuningtips.com, where if you guys want to buy one of these Bowmasters, you can go right over to the website and pick it up. We sell a lot of them. I use these things. This is the one that I use. I carry with me everywhere I go. Usually it's in the glove box of my truck, or it's in my bow case. I've got another one that's at the shop. I carry around the shop because on fast little jobs, I don't want to break out the big old giant bow press, and just to put a peep sight in. 5 seconds, man. I got this laying right on the bench. I don't even have to take it out of my bow vise. I can lay it down and go to town. Anyway, well, I hope this has enlightened you a little bit more about the Bowmaster. Kind of showed you some of the features. And you guys be sure to stay tuned for some more great videos. I'll catch you then.